you ready for a good day?
I'm ready for a good day and another
Stories with Reginald. Hit it, Maestro.
Maestro.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Oh yeah, maybe.
It's really cold today.
It's very cold outside.
I think I want to stay inside and maybe hide away.
Under some covers.
But it's kind of fun outside. If you want to do what I do. Do you want to build a snowman?
I do want to build a snowman.
Let's build a snowman. It's cold today, Pastor Andy.
It is really, really cold. Do you know how cold it is?
It's so cold that the coach at the Super Bowl got hit with a cube of Gatorade.
Right. Do you know it's so cold, I chipped my tooth eating soup. You know what? Do you know how cold it is?
How cold is it, Pastor Andy?
It's so cold, I saw a teenager with his pants pulled all the way up.
Oh, that's good.
Right.
Yeah, it is kind of cold today.
Yep. You know how cold it is? It's so cold they canceled tomorrow.
It's -8 today in Bloomington, Illinois.
-8?
That's right.
That's so cold that hitchhikers are using signs rather than their thumbs.
My, it's cold.
It is cold. It is cold. It's good to see you. Thanks for the song.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, David, for playing.
Yeah, it was really good of him. How you been this week?
Oh, I've been really good, Pastor Andy, trying to stay warm.
Stay warm. Stay warm. Yep. Well, we don't have any questions for everybody. And just a reminder, if you have a question you want to ask Reginald and I, please let me know, and we'll see if we can answer them. As well as if you have a book that you want us to read, we will read your book on Stories with Reginald.
Of course.
Yep.
So what are we reading today, Pastor Andy?
We're reading a book called The Rag Coat. See, because it's cold out. And
of course.
Everyone needs to wear their coats. And it's by Lauren Mills.
Rag coat. That's a really colorful coat on the
cover. Yeah, I know, isn't it? Look at her. That's a really colorful coat. And someone gave me this book several years ago. But it's like this. This is what it says. It says, in winter, Papa carried me to church in a burlap sack because I didn't have a coat. Mama, Papa, Clemmy, and me were all hitched a ride on Jeremy Miller's hay wagon and huddled under Mama's big quilt. I know Papa loved that quilt because he said it had all the nice, bright colors of the day in it. The day was coming. He hardly saw that I'm having a hard time today.
I know.
He worked down at the black coal mines and didn't come up until sun was gone. I told Papa it was warmer under the quilt than I had if I had a coat. He always laughed when I said that, and I told him, Minnie, you got the right way of thinking. People only need people and nothing else. You don't forget that. Wow.
That's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words.
You're doing better than I would. I can't read very well.
I'm having some trouble today.
But that's a nice coat.
It is a coat. So here it is. It says, Papa got sick with miner's cough and couldn't work much. So Mama stitched day and night on her quilts and tried to make some money. When I was old enough to start school, I couldn't go. They needed me at home to help Mama. I would card all her quilts, stuffing and keeping Clemmy's dirty fingers out of all the cotton. I made a doll for myself by stitching of some of Mama's quilt scraps and stuffed cotton inside. I talked to her like she was my friend because I didn't have any. Mama was busy for much talk, and when Papa was home, he mostly stared out the window because he didn't feel well.
Oh. So they put cotton inside, or the quilt.
Right.
So it gets warmer.
Exactly. Excuse me. Everyone came, one day Papa passed away. Everyone came at once and brought us food. I couldn't figure out how so many people could squeeze into our little cabin, but somehow they managed it. They said they knew Papa well. I sat on the stool back by the wood stove with Clemmy on my lap so no one would step on us. I couldn't stand it. They all wore black like the coal mines. That killed my Papa. I didn't even like black. I liked all the bright colors of the day. So why were they all wearing black, I wondered.
Well, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, we might read this in 2 days.
Okay, it's a long book.
It's a longer book. All right, and there they are. They're making quilts. School started in September. Mama said I could go, but I decided not to. I still didn't have a coat to wear, and I knew it was no use starting something I'd have to quit when the weather turned cold. Other mothers who had children in school came over to quilt with Mama. I called them the quilting mothers.
The quilting mothers.
That fall, they were all working on a pattern called Joseph's Coat of Many Colors. I looked at it and said, "That's Joseph. Sure was a lucky one to have such a coat. I wish I had one like that."
Whoa.
"Why do you say that, Minnie?" Mrs. Miller asked. "Because then I could go to school," I said, a little embarrassed that I had mentioned it.
Joseph was a character in the Bible.
He was. "Well, now, Minnie," said Mrs. Miller, "I don't know that any of us has a spare coat we could hand down to you, but I'm sure we have some scraps to spare. We could piece them together, and you'd have a coat like Joseph all over." Mrs. Miller looked around the room, and the other mothers nodded. Mama quickly protested. "You all need those rags for your own quilts. Don't go giving things you need yourself." They paid no attention to Mama. Mrs. Hunter said, "And we could use feed bags for the inside of the coat." My eyes filled with tears, but I wasn't embarrassed anymore. I said, "I have a feed sack Papa used to carry me in." I ran to fetch it. "Will this do?" "Yes, it would do just fine," they told me. Then I thought of something important. "But you need to make quilts to sell. You can't take time out to quilt me a coat." "First things first," said Mrs. Miller, and they repeated it. Mama smiled and shook her head and saw the tears running down her face, too.
He needed a coat. So they were making one.
They were making her a coat. Let's read a few more pages.
Okay.
The very next day I went to school, running most of the way to keep warm and thinking about all the while of the coat I would soon have. The schoolhouse was just one room filled with 14 children. I had seen most of them at church, but never got a chance to talk to them much. I knew I would love school, even though I was put in the front row with the youngest ones, and Kyle Bradshaw whispered that it was because I was not really smart.
Oh, no.
That's kind of mean.
That is mean.
Then Shane Hunter pulled my braid, and Sochi Miller said I asked the teacher too many questions. But our teacher, Mrs. Campbell, smiled at me and said, "Smart people are the ones who have lots of questions to ask."
Oh, I have lots of questions.
You do. That means that you're really smart.
I bet they have lots of questions, too.
All right, we'll read one more page. My most favorite thing about school was sharing day. Each of us had their own day when we shared something special with the class. Kyle Bradshaw brought in a watch his grandpa gave him. It still ticked and he made sure we all heard it. On her day, Lottie showed us a porcelain doll her aunt from New York had sent her. We all thought it was the most beautiful thing we ever wanted to touch. We all wanted to touch it. But Lottie wouldn't let anyone near it. She said, "Nope, it's mine," which made everyone mad. She wasn't sharing.
No.
I knew just what I'd show when it was my sharing day, but I kept it a secret. I knew the quilting mothers would keep it a secret, too.
I wonder what's going to happen.
Well, we're going to find out next week, but I bet you she's going to show her coat.
Oh, that would be good. You know what? Sometimes we have a coat or maybe some clothes that we have and we don't think anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking at that book and it didn't look like they had a lot.
No, I think they were pretty poor and they really appreciated the things they did have.
And so they used what they had so that they could make things that were useful.
Right, exactly. They used scraps of, well, we're going to find out what the coat looks like, but it sounds like they used scraps of cloth to make a coat, and they stuffed it with whatever they had.
I wonder what I can do to help others, Pastor Andy.
I bet we can come up with some ideas, some really simple things that maybe we take for granted.
Well, maybe we'll think about that. Maybe you can think about what you can do to help others. And
Right.
and then we'll talk about it next week.
Right. Maybe you could let us know one way that you think you can help others. Not just really simply, just simple ways.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I can't wait to finish the book.
Me too, because we're going to need it this week because it's going to be
Cold. Really cold.
Really cold, really cold. You know how cold it is?
How cold is it?
It's so cold that people keep making how cold it is at jokes.
Oh.
Yes.
Hey, let's sing our prayer song.
Let's sing.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
It's called Sanctuary. Here we go, kids.
Sing along.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
All right, and remember, what do we say? Be a blessing. Bye-bye.
Bye, kids.